So I'll fold it over. Nice and neat. Then I take the other half and fold it right over. Now it's triple folded. Making sure that these handles stay out. All right, these will be right in the center. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my bottle right on top of it. Ultimately, there's going to be two ways to carry this rig pack. We can either carry it by the handle, or if we need to drag it because we're down low, we're going to drag it with these handles that are on the tarp itself. So we want to put the back end of the bottle so that when we go to grab these handles, the regulator and all the other stuff on the neck of the bottle isn't going to get in the way of our hand. Secondly is when you are dragging it, if you run into a wall or you run into corners as you're dragging, then you're not damaging any of the important parts on your bottle, which is, of course, the regulator, the shut-off valve, any of the connections on the neck of the bottle. So that's why we set the bottom end on this side. Once we've done that, we line it up nice and neat. Now we need to secure our low pressure hose. The low pressure hose, we do one wrap around the back. I try to tuck it in because if I don't want to get confused and end up with the low pressure hose in the back. Now I'm pulling on this and pulling the hose out. So I tuck it all the way inside. And I only do one wrap because if I do more than one wrap, right, if I bring it all the way around the neck, now if I'm trying to loosen it or take it off, I'm stuck onto the bottle. So I don't want to have to be messing with this when I'm inside a dark, smoky environment. One wrap around the back, tuck it in, get it out of the way of the handles, and then you're going to come up on this side and you're just going to do like a little accordion fold. And all you're basically trying to do is protect your regulator inside the tarp. This is pretty much how it's going to look. All right? Once I've done that, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my light and I'm going to attach my wire cutters. To make it easier for me to attach these, I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the bottle a little bit and release the strap. When I put the light on, as we talked about before, I want to be able to shine some light onto the gauge on the bottle so that I can see how much air is in there. So I'm going to point it this way. Also, because of the way the clip is set up, if I do it this way and it gets caught, because this is the way I'm going to be dragging, it's going to rip this clip right off. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the strap and I'm going to Larksford that onto the handle itself. So this way, even if the clip breaks, the light isn't going to come off. It's still going to hang on there. Then I'm going to hook it on so that the light faces the gauge on the bottle. All right. When I hook my wire cutters, it's the same setup. If I'm dragging, I don't want the handle to be facing this way because it's going to get caught on stuff and pull back and rip it right off the bottle. So I'm going to turn it this way so that when it does come up, it's going to be low profile. Right? Now that everything's hooked up, I can go ahead and snug up my bottle. And I'm ready to go. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my straps. I know that if the orange is facing the top, then when I wrap it, it's going to end up like this. So I set the straps out so that the orange is facing the top. And I make sure that they're facing in the same direction so that when I do wrap, I'm not having to go like this and like this to open up the pack. So both facing in the same direction. Easiest way if you're doing it by yourself is to go ahead and set the straps out. Then you're just going to pick up your whole system and you're going to put it right on top of the straps. All right, then you can reposition after you put the pack on. So you're going to tuck your regulator in. You're going to take your tarp and you're going to roll it right over the top, making sure that you leave your light accessible and your wire cutters accessible. Same on the other side. You're going to bring your strap over the top. When you cinch it up, it's important that you leave the strap over the top so you're not looking for it when you're inside. Make sure that's covered. Now you're gonna go ahead and snug it up. And this should end up at the top so that when you go to grab it, it's right here at the top. You're not having to look for it. You're gonna do the same with the front. Make sure that you leave your wire cutters out and open. Roll your tarp in. Make sure your regulator is covered. Now you're going to take your top strap under the wire cutters because you don't want to lock them in case you got to use them. Shift it all the way over so that when you snug it, it ends up at the top. And then you snug it all the way up. Again, making sure your strap is towards the top, so all you got to do is grab it. All right, now you're set. So you've got two ways that you can carry this. The last thing you do is you hook on your carabiner for your drag tarp. All right, two ways you can carry it. This way, if you're just going to carry the pack, or if you're going to drag it, you can grab it this way and drag it. Pick it up this way. Everything's tucked up out of the way, except for the stuff that you're going to need to use. Okay, so now that we're done wrapping up our rig pack, let's go ahead and just put all of our equipment away. So we're going to go ahead and put this right in the center compartment. Go ahead and zip this up. Making sure your light is off, making sure your bottle is turned off. Okay, you've got your Phoenix loops and your tactical worksheet on one side, your drag tarp on the other, and then the last thing you need to put away is your mask. And that goes on one of these end compartments. All right, you take your strap, buckle it back on. You're ready to put your pack away. Okay, you're done. In this next portion of the training, we're going to cover three different things. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to provide air for the downed firefighter. We're going to talk about 4 different ways to do it. One would be with a quick disconnect regulator. The next would be with the UAC, or the universal air connector. Then we're going to talk about a regulator exchange and a mask exchange. That'll be the first portion. On the next portion, we're going to go through how to load the downed firefighter onto the tarp. Then once we have them on the tarp, we're going to demonstrate different ways to use the drag tarp with 3 firefighters. The very last portion is going to involve using the Phoenix loops and how we can drag a downed firefighter without having to use the drag tarp. This is for a quick and dirty. You're just going to grab them and pull them right out. Anything more extended than that, then we would switch over to the drag tarp. So that'll be the next portion of our video. Okay, so the first way of providing air for a down firefighter we're going to talk about is using your Quick Connect MMR. We carry our setup like this because most of the time we either do a regular exchange or a mask exchange. If, for example, you were from Contra Costa where you carry your own MMR, then what we would do is we would disconnect theirs from their bottle and then quick connect ours onto theirs. But again, as in with us, we carry it set up like this because we do not have our own MMRs. All right, second way to do this is to provide air by using the UAC, the Universal Air Connector. As you can see, the down firefighters has a connector right here. All you do is remove the cap on this, and you're going to do a quick connect. All it does is clip right in. Once you make the connection, the two bottles are going to equalize. When you get done, then you disconnect the bottle. All you do is pull back, and it comes right off. Make sure you cover this back up when you're done so that it doesn't get damaged. Cover this back up so that it doesn't get damaged. Now you're ready to go. This provides air for the firefighter if you have a short distance to go. All you want to do is top him off so that you can do a quick drag out of the building. For anything that's an extended extrication for the down firefighter, this may not be the best way to go. It may be better to put him on the 1 hour RIC bottle. All right, so the next thing we're going to demonstrate is we're going to demonstrate a mask regulator exchange. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to position the down firefighter. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sit him up, and I'm going to put him right between my legs. I'm going to make sure that I position him so that I can work on him easily in case I need to remove his helmet to do the mask exchange. In this case, we're only going to do a regulator, but this way he's positioned so that I can reach around and be able to take his regulator. Before I remove his regulator, though, I'm going to make sure that my partner is ready to go with the regulator. He's going to take the regulator off of his mask. I'm going to get that from him. And as he removes that regulator, I'm going to put this one on. The reason why we do it this way is because it's much easier for me to do this than it is for me to do that, because I'm used to doing this. All I need to make sure is that I have my bypass on at 12 o'clock, and all I'm going to do is put it up against his mask, give it a little turn, and it should be set on his mask. So whenever you're ready.
Ready.
All right. Ready to go. If for some reason he is unable to take a breath, I can go ahead and activate this because this gets activated as soon as he takes his first breath. So I'm going to show that as well. All right, hold your breath. All right. Two ways I can do this. I can either activate it prior to putting it on his face by doing this and clipping it on, which I don't like to do because you tend to lose some air. Or I can clip it right onto his face. Hold your breath. And then I'm going to press right in the center, which activates it. All I'm doing is pressing right in the center where it says Scott. All right, and that's a regulator exchange. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a mask exchange. The important thing to remember with a mask exchange is that you must have your mask ready to go so that when you position it on the down firefighter, it'll be easier to get the straps and everything on. And it should look like this. All right, once you've got it positioned properly, then I'm going to go ahead and take the down firefighter, just as we did with the regulator exchange. I'm going to position him and get him ready so that we can do the mask exchange. Right here. Okay, I'm going to sit him up, right? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the straps on his helmet. And I can either unclip his helmet or I can just drop it over the side. I'm going to remove his hood. Loosen up the straps. With this, the straps are stretchy, so all I'm going to do is pull down below his chin, up and over his head. As soon as I do that, the second firefighter is going to take this mask, set it under his chin, drop it right onto his face. What we want to do is we want to minimize the amount of time that he has the mask off of his face. Once he does that, then I'm going to go ahead and set the straps on the firefighter's head. Ready? All right, once he does that, I'm gonna grab the front. I'm gonna make sure that he's taking a breath. If he hasn't, then I'm gonna go ahead and activate it for him. I'm gonna pull the face piece up over his head. I'm gonna keep holding on to it until I get it nice and cinched up. First, I'm gonna cinch up the side, the right side, left side. Once I make sure that there's no air leaking and it's on there nice and tight, I'm gonna cover him back up again, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna have to drag him out. So we wanna make sure that his head and everything is protected. So you wanna put him back just like you found him. Mask exchange. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and demonstrate how to position the down firefighter onto the tarp. The tarp is going to come around and they're going to position the tarp at about the belly button line of the down firefighter with the handles pointing in. It'll stay triple folded like that. Firefighter with the brick pack is going to bring the pack around to the bottom at the feet so that it's out of the way of us putting him on the tarp. Basically unfold, unfold, and then unfold the rest of it. You don't need to scrunch it under the firefighter at all, just leave it flat right next to him. Before you roll the down firefighter onto the tarp, there's 3 things you need to remember. Number 1 is make sure that the head is not so high that it's going to roll off of the tarp. So the tarp needs to be positioned high enough to encompass the head inside. Second thing is if the arms are sticking out or up, you need to tuck the arm back inside so that when you roll, he'll roll up on top of his arm instead of having it sticking out of the tarp. Third thing to remember is you want to go ahead and start the removal of his SCBA. So before you roll him on, you want to go ahead and undo the waist strap. Pull that off. You're going to take off one of his arms from inside the strap. This way, when you roll him on, the only thing you'll have to do is pull the other arm out of the SCBA. Once you get ready to roll him on, one hand on the shoulder, one hand on the waistline, and one quick roll. Once you got him